So we'll start with a little log here. Not sure what this is.
Spotlight yourself, Ralph.
Yes, let me do that. Thank you for reminding me. So we'll start with a little log of something. I'm not sure what this is. It almost looks like it could be mahogany. I think it might be. So what I'll do is start I'll use this 4-prong drive center that fits in my chuck, and we'll make a cylinder with a tenon on each end, and that's good there. And like I said, I've never done this before. I watched a very short video last night on it that was done by one of our former members, Jack Shelton. I'm not sure how many of you guys know him, who was a member of our guild for, I don't know, many years. And then he moved up to Fort Pierce. And I believe he's the one that started the Treasure Coast Woodturners guild up there in the Fort Pierce area. So So we'll start with a spindle roughing gouge and make this thing round. Let me get on my dust mask and eye protection and we'll get turning here. Guess I better plug the lathe in too. Might work better if I did that. crank that thing up. I'm gonna put a 10 on each end here. switch tool rests. So what I'm going to do first is form a plug that'll go in the bottom to get glued into the hole that we're going to hollow from. And like I said, this is the first time I've attempted this. I've only watched one very short video on it. So if I screw up, I screw up. I'm kind of winging it as I go. So.
Okay.
I'm going to be using a 1/2-inch bowl gouge and maybe a spindle gouge here and there. Put a taper on that. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Let me turn on the lights in the shop. That might show it up better. Let me see what happens.
It's doing fine.
yeah, Ralph, you can see that clearly.
That,
You can see that clearly.
I can't hear you.
You can see the taper is clearly visible.
Okay. All right. So reduce that just a little bit in size. What I'll do is I'll take my thin parting tool. We'll start a parting line here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start a basic shape of what we're going to make here. This is just waste wood here. All right, so we'll reduce this a little more. And make a new tenon. We got a little small there. All right, then we'll go ahead and part this off most of the way. Widening that cut so I got clearance. Taking some off the tenon side. Now I don't want to part that all the way. I'm going to cut the rest of the way with a saw. Now at this point, depending on the wood, what Jack did, because he was using a semi-punky spalted piece of tamarind, he saturated this tenon, this plug with CA glue, which I'm not going to do that this, on this project. But it's, something to take into consideration depending on your wood. So we set this plug aside, and now what we'll do is we'll hollow this body out of the vessel or the whatever you want to call it. And we'll cheat a little bit. We'll drill most of it out. Okay, that's going to be too big. So, I've got another Forstner bit here somewhere. We'll use this one. And what I want to do, I'm going to make a very small neck on this piece. This will just be the body right here. So I want to measure how far up I want to go. Obviously, I don't want to go up into where the neck is going to come out. So I really only want to go about 1.25 inches in. So I'll measure back on my drill and put a piece of tape at 1.25 inches. And of course, when you're drilling, you want to slow your lathe speed way down. So relative to the size of the hole and the type of wood. And the sharpness of your drill bits. And it helps when you tighten up the drill bit so that it just doesn't push back into the chuck and then start spinning. All right. So now what we'll do is we'll change that drill bit out and we'll put in a I'm going to use a 3/8 drill bit and we'll go up past where the top of the piece will be. Of course, this hole that you're going to drill will dictate how small the neck can be. Always clear your chips. And of course, you're going to have to move your tailstock because you're going to run out of quill. You get a little air in there. And you can also just jam it in there without using the quill. You just push the whole tailstock up in there. Okay, here we go. You can get those long drill bits over at Home Depot, or you can order them online. They also, you can also get extensions for them, and that way, depending on the size, you could use an extension. You don't want to buy a long drill bit, but the drill bit has to be larger diameter than the receiving end of the extension, of course. So now what we'll do is hollow this out. And first what we'll do is bring this up to make sure that we don't make the hole too big. Put some mark on here. Now, Jack used 2 chucks for this because he has an adapter for his chuck to go on the live center, which I don't have. So just have to wing it. We'll bring our speed back up and check our chuck, make sure we're still tight. Especially if you're using wet wood, you want to make sure you periodically check how tight your chuck is. Don't try and take too much all at once. Check here, we're not super critical. Basically what we want to do, we just don't want this piece to be super heavy. Make it like just a chunk of wood that somebody just drilled a hole through the top and left it. This is where those smaller curved hollowing tools can come in handy depending on the shape. If you wanted to make this wider, more squat, you need something to reach back up in there. We just take a little bit more here. And the main thing is you don't want to make the inside of this piece bigger than the outside. Okay, so we're not going to go any further than that, but you guys get the idea. You can make them as thin as you want, depending on what you're going to do with them. You can make them real thin just to show off and say, look what I did. So now what we're going to do is fit this plug to the bottom. And I think what we're going to have to do is probably reduce the size of this plug a little bit. But what I'll do is I'm going to make a taper here to try and match this. So,
Ralph, I have a question for you.
yes.
I know there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I saw a demo like this up in Raleigh. You didn't make it, that's the one you couldn't make. But there's a guy, Dennis Fudge, or Fuge, He did the demo. I also got some handouts I can share with everybody, but what he did, the key here, I'll stop all the other noise, but when he did this piece, he made it both flat. And the reason he made it flat rather than put a taper on it, he wanted as much wood to touch each other when he CA glued it together, because that's all it's going to hold a piece when you're finishing it. So rather than mess around with a taper, he made them both straight. You know what I mean?
No,
Okay, right there where you say you're going to put a taper on the
right.
inside. Okay, he made that straight. He didn't put a taper there.
So he just cut it like a box lid.
Right, and the same with the plug. The reason,
Okay, well, that would work too.
the reason for that is he wanted as much glue surface on the piece as he can get, because you're going to hold that plug on the chuck when you finish the rest of the piece. You know, so he didn't want it coming off. That's just another way to do it.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
Okay, that fits pretty good. Now, what Jack did to fit this is he put sandpaper on here and spun the whole thing to sand it to fit, but I don't think we need to go that far on this one, but you'll get the idea. So, and you can actually, if you rub it on there, you'll see where it's hitting. The actual pencil mark is transferring off of this into here. So let me chuck this piece up, this bottom plug up, and give it a little trim. I can grab it right there. See what happens here. Okay, so for this project, this is probably close enough. That looked pretty good there. Okay. So what you want to do is try and align the grain, obviously. Might be a little tough. You can see this spalting runs here and runs here. And because I don't have that second chuck set up like he did, we just have to kind of wing it. And we'll use some CA. Hopefully I got some good one. Cardboard on the beds. Okay. Glued shut. A minute here. You can always keep some I feel safe diaper pins in your toolbox. Little off, but it'll work. I hope. It's all going to get cut away anyway. So now we'll do some more shaping on this. Well, this is in there.
Ralph, was that water you just sprayed?
No, the activator.
Oh, okay.
The
Aha, thank you.
okay, that drill bit that I used to drill that hole all the way through is a 3/8 bit. So we want to make sure that our neck is obviously bigger than 3/8. Leave a little wall thickness on each side. So if we set that at 3/4 or 5/8, we should be fine. All right, that's 5/8, a little over 5/8. So now I know where not to go past. I'm leaving material up here so that I can make a flared top for this. So let me read through this tenon and bottom, and then we'll turn it around. See if we can hide that a little bit better. The one that Jack did, you can't see that. Plus, you put a burn mark or something in there, and you can't really see it. I didn't get a perfect fit on this like he did. point tool or something. A couple lines there. I'm gonna come up here and part this off, get rid of most of this waste. I'll make a jam chuck out of this to turn the bottom off of this when it's time. So before I take it out of here. I just drilled that 3/4 hole to relieve the pressure on the other Forstner bit. Make it cut a lot easier. All right. Just enough pressure to keep it from moving. Don't do that. Yeah, I had to take a little bit off where I screwed up there and let it slip on me. Ouch. That looks a little better. Okay. So I'll go through your grits. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and sand through all the grits. I'm just hitting this with some 220. Just so you can see the color come up, I'm just going to hit it with a little linseed oil. Obviously, I would let that spin for, 20, 30 minutes, let it dry, and then wipe it down and probably hit it a couple more times. So now what we want to do is cut that bottom off of there. What we'll do is, there's a couple ways to do it. One way that Jack showed was basically taking a piece of wood and putting a point on it and put that on there very, very lightly, just enough to turn it. Of course, support it with your tailstock and then turn the bottom off. But what I did is took the waste piece off the top. And hollowed out to where it'll fit up in there. Because if your top is very thin, fragile on the piece, putting it on a point, you stand a chance of splitting it. You're not really, really careful. So we'll put this back up on here. And we'll taper this a little bit so it's not such a sharp edge. Always unlock your spindle before you try and turn the lathe on. Okay. Take some paper towel. Put that up in there. Gotta get that centered up better. That may not work. There we go.
Mhm.
put your lines or not for your name and what kind of wood. Take just a teeny more. Okay, that's all we get. You don't want to break this off because a lot of times when you go to break that, it'll go in and make an indentation. So you want to cut it off and then do a little very light touch sanding there and whatever else you're going to do to finish. And can't really tell. I don't know if you can see that, how well you can see that. You know, the spalt lines line up and you can't, with those three lines, you can't tell that this thing's been taken apart and hollowed out. But, you know, when somebody picks this up, they say, oh, that's light. You tell them it's hollow, you know, they're a lot more likely to buy it than just a solid chunk of wood that weighs a ton. So that's one way to make little hollow forms with very small necks, which obviously you're not going to hollow anything through this. So that's pretty much it. All I got for today.
Bravo.
Amazing. Loved it.
Very nice.
So Dan,
Nice, Ralph. Nice.
Absolutely.
You're flipping, Ralph.
Not easy, for
sure
sure.
it is. Nothing to
Not
it.
easy. But
Nothing to it.
let's try it.
Yep, let's try.
Yeah, learn. But I like it.
So
And I like the way that you put use the paper towel to put the back in your piece to do the bottom.
yeah, there's, you know, like Dave said, there's a, you know, different ways to glue that in.
Mhm.
You know, and if I was, you know, making these for pieces to sell, I would probably glue them with Tight Bond instead of CA. Okay, it takes longer. You have to wait for the glue to dry a little bit, but I think it's just a better job to glue them with some wood glue instead of the CA. But that's just my opinion. You know, and that way you don't take any real chance of staining the wood with a CA, although most of that would get cut away anyway. So, and I don't, you know, I can't see any staining here, but you know, with a spalted piece of wood. So,
That's great.
you know, and the shapes, of course, there's many shapes. You know, I personally find these little large bottom with very thin necks. You know, to me, I really like those shapes. So,
Very nice.
so anybody got any questions?
Not now,
Not now?
later, maybe.
Later, maybe, okay. Okay, so, all right, well, looks like we have quietness today.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was great.
Maybe.
Got a question, Jan?
I was thinking maybe in 2 or 3 years I might try that.
Oh, well, no, don't wait, just let's do it. You know, this is something, once we get back over to Waldo's, we can work on stuff that, you know, where we're kind of together.
Right.
And, you know,
Yeah.
a project like this would be something good for somebody to try.
True.
And
I'd
while,
like for sure.
you know, while you guys are here, because the majority of the people that are here today are the majority of the people that go to Waldo's. So has anybody got any opinions or concerns about going back over to Waldo's soon?
Everybody got their shots, right?
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
requesting, that everybody has had both of their shots if you're getting the 2-shot deal. And that there's a 2-week period after the second or the last shot before coming over. You know, we would prefer if people wore masks, but actually, you know, you should be wearing a mask anyway in the shop because of the dust, the wood dust. So that's, you know, if you're in that shop and people are turning, you should be wearing a mask anyway, no matter what, for your own health, you know, for your own lungs, just because of the wood dust, you know, and it's the dust that you cannot see is the stuff that gets you. Okay, these big shavings,
Right.
you know, stuff like this, you know, that's not going down your nose and down your throat. Okay, it's the tiny stuff that you can't see, the microscopic, I don't know what the microns is, but stuff that you can't see is what will get you. If you look at the,
Dust.
you know, the AAW has a warning about it, and the wood database website, which I, you know, refer to often, has a bunch of very good articles on safety and dust protection. And they also give information on different woods and people's, you know, not everybody's the same. You know,
Yes.
a lot of you saw the reaction I had to that wild tamarind. And, you know, like I've told most of you, I've also now developed some type of reaction to mahogany. Not a respiratory reaction, but a skin irritation reaction. So, you know, and you see a lot of you get on these online, especially on Facebook, on the Woodturners groups, and these people, oh, that's poison. You got to be careful. That wood's poison. Oh, that wood's poison. Oh, no, this one's poison. Well, the wood is not poison. Okay, there's only a couple of woods in the whole world that are technically poisonous. Okay, but what they're talking about is you get a adverse reaction to the dust of the wood getting on your skin or getting into your lungs or your eyes.
Ralph, are you going to have a special kind of mask for being at Waldo's?
No, just, you know, whatever you've been using. I mean, I the one I use for the wood turning, you know, is the dust be gone. And that seems to work pretty good.
And that you can get those where?
These you can order them online. Packard has them, Craft Supply has them. I'm sure there's other places that have them. They're not cheap.
I wouldn't expect that.
You know, but I like it. You know, it's comfortable. you can talk through it pretty well.
And breathable.
You can breathe okay with it. Now, it does not have any rating on it. So they're not telling you that this is a OSHA rated mask down to so many microns. They don't have a rating on this mask. But I'm not sure why, probably just because it costs $1 million to get this thing tested and certified. But, you know, I've worn this now for quite some years, and you know, if you turn wood, dusty wood without a mask and blow your nose and see what comes out, you know you're getting crap in your system. You know, and I've worn that, and you blow your nose and you don't get anything. So it must be working.
Excellent.
You know, I mean, you know, there's other systems. There's, you know, the masks that everybody's been wearing around, these surgical masks. You know, the problem with them is they don't seal very well.
Right.
You know, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of comical. You know, they don't seal very well. You know, some of the other ones do seal fairly well, and they're kind of hard to breathe through. But, you know, and then there's the forced air systems, but they're expensive and they're uncomfortable. And I did buy one. I don't wear it very often. I was looking at another one, but, you know, you're talking $700-800 or more for some of those forced air systems. You know, the ones that the welders use for the fumes, you know, those get up into where they're, you know, $1,000 to $1,200, $2,000 for that system. But of course they're breathing, you know, that's toxic gas fumes that they're breathing versus, you know, just wood dust that we're breathing. And, you know, another thing about safety, you should, when you're running the chainsaw and especially the bandsaw, you know, anytime you're in the shop doing anything, you know, table saw, bandsaw is probably the worst for creating very fine dust. So just, you know, for your own safety, you know, you should be wearing a mask. But, you know, the other, those are pretty much it on those, you know, suggestions. Dave Piper, David Sigley, you got anything to add to that about the information about going to Waldo's?
We had talked about keeping social distance and having a social pop-up outside of the workshop so that not everybody's inside the workshop where Waldo usually hangs out, you know, maybe go in and greet them and stuff like that. But if you're not working on one of the lathes and you just want to hang out, bring your camp chair like usual and hang out over in the pop-up that we'll put up outside the workshop to keep some social distance.
Yeah, this time of year, the sun is on the, you know, on the north side. So there's no shade on the north side of Waldo's shop like there is during the fall and winter, where that's in the shade all morning. So yeah, we're going to bring a pop-up, you know, 10 by 10, 12, whatever, 13 by 13 pop-up tent and stick it up out there to just, you know, for anybody who wants to hang out.
Yeah, the only thing to add too is that, you know, Gene had a concern that'd be too many people, but, you know, it's usually about 12 people that come, but who knows? So there will be a limited amount. And also if you want to get on a lathe, you know, be mentored or you need to, it's in the guidelines. You'll see.
Yeah,
you need to contact Ralph ahead of time. So
right. That's what we're suggesting, because we don't want to get overloaded with people. And, you know, send me an email. And if, you know, especially if you have a project that you want to work on, and that way, you know, we can get you on a lathe. You know, we've got.
That was the other thing too, Ralph, when you mentioned a project. I don't know if it's still that way, but when I did go to Waldo's at one time, he doesn't have any wood anymore, right, Jack?
Right.
Is it still that way? All the wood's gone? You're on mute, Jack. You're muted, Jack.
I'm trying to get to it. Most of the wood's gone, but there's a little bit there.
Oh, he didn't, but he didn't have any there by that barbecue area when I was there. That was
No,
all.
no, he cleared all that out and
Oh, okay.
burned it.
But yeah, you definitely need to bring some wood if you're gonna turn something.
Yeah, I mean, bring a chunk of wood, bring your tools. It's always, it's always a good idea to bring your own tools. That way, that's something you're familiar with, or you'll get practice with your own tools, because that's what you're going to be using at home. So, it'll all be spelled out in the information that we'll send out. I'm not going to send it out yet until Waldo gets home and I find out what's the situation,
Right.
what it's going to be. We were normally going to shut down for July and August anyway because of the damn heat. So, I don't know if we'll end up being able to have a workshop in May or June. Otherwise, it'll have to wait till September or October. So, we'll keep you guys informed as far as what's going on with that. And of course, as I've been trying to do, keep you guys informed of what's going on with Waldo's situation. So, I have no idea when they're going to let him out. And I don't think Gene does at this point either. I do know that Waldo's ready to go home, but I don't think the doctors are ready to let him go home.
How old is
Yeah.
he? Ralph, how old is he?
I want to say 91 or 92.
Wow.
And I have a feeling he'll probably end up going to a rehab center for a while.
More than likely.
Yeah.
A lot of times too, what they do, depending on the age, they don't let you go home. They send you right to a, assisted living and have you do your rehab there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a rehab center.
Yeah, that's what my sister-in-law, she had whatever she had, she went right to rehab. Couldn't go home.
Until he can get, I would think until he can get out of bed and into his chair,
Yes, yeah.
and move around.
And actually, that's probably the worst thing you can do is get out of the bed and go straight to the chair.
Yeah.
Okay, because, with those type of things, depending on, you've got to move around. Otherwise, things start freezing up and stiffening up, and then they don't want to work at all.
But even before that, he wasn't walking more than about 20 or 30 steps.
Right.
So,
Well, he also had to get that situation straightened out with the heart.
yeah.
So I don't know, maybe with any luck, maybe he'll be able to take care of it while he's over there. Don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't think his cardiologist works out of there.
Oh, okay. Well, that figures.
Yeah.
God bless him anyway. Mhm.
So,
Send him, but I have a piece that inspires me a lot, and one day I will get to do it. I got it from an African friend. She bought there. I think it's made of ebony, and it's hollow, completely hollow. I don't know if you're able to
Yes.
see. Sorry for the motor here
Oh, not yet.
sound, but and has a top here, and it's something like that, but very shallow, very, how do you say that when it's very
very,
thin?
yeah, very shallow.
Yeah, shallow.
Shallow, yeah. And it's the hollow goes very deep on
Oh,
that.
that's the next project for you,
Yeah, so this is an
Along-
inspiration.
along with this.
Yeah, I will try that one definitely, but maybe I will do it the part of the bottom. I will need some help. I will do under supervision.
Okay, we can do that.
Maybe thank you.
I had a friend who remodeled at home, and he gave me mahogany cabinet doors. So I made a shallow plate were a couple of platters.
Nice.
You can
Oh,
see
that's
that,
nice.
that's one. And here's another one, a lot larger. But it's got a lip on it. And these are all just mahogany cabinet doors that he gave me. I still have several of them, and what's left over, I'll turn into pen blanks.
There you go.
I had a neighbor that cut down a oak tree and
Wow.
so a platter about 14.5 inches in diameter. And
Wow, and it didn't crack.
Beautiful, beautiful grain.
actually it did. There's a crack here. I don't think it was from drying. I think it was an internal stress,
Okay.
because I cut it down, roughed it out and everything, wasn't doing anything. When I started hollowing it out, it started making all sorts of terrible noises.
Okay.
Yeah. And I thought I had broken it. I felt like a catch, and I, heard this big bang and stuff. And I looked, and here was this crack that opened up.
Huh.
So, but, after I got it thin, it started moving a bit.
Yeah, oak's good for that. Anybody else? Okay, I don't know if anybody's interested. I did not send it out as a little alert. My neighbor, 4 doors down, took out a huge black olive tree in his front yard. I've never been real interested in turning it. I've heard it's full of silica and abrasive on your tools. But if anybody wants any black olive, there's a pile, like I said, 4 doors down from my house. There's a pile on both sides of the street. That's how big the tree was. If anybody wants any. So bring a hand truck and bring a saw, and don't call me. Or I can come and watch. But I don't know how long it's going to be there. They cut that thing down on, I want to say they cut it down on Wednesday, and it's still there. So it may be gone in the next few days. If anybody wants it.
Is it good to turn? Because I have black olive in my house, but once I they cut it a little bit, and then I tried to save some pieces, but then it was all cracked before I put in the turn in the lathe.
I've never
So
tried
I gave
it.
up.
I've never tried it.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how it is to turn. I've heard it's abrasive, that it has silica in it. So it's hard on the tools, like some of the woods that we do have.
Mhm.
I don't know how it holds color.
Well,
It's,
give it a
it's
try.
it's like any wood. You could get a piece that could turn out gorgeous, and you could get 10 pieces that turn out looking like crap. So,
That's true.
I've seen, some of the guys turn ficus, and, some of it, ficus, gumbo limbo is another one. Gumbo limbo, 90% of the time looks like crap.
Okay.
When it starts to spald, it just looks like somebody threw a bunch of gray mud on it. It just has no character. It looks crappy. But once in a while you'll get a piece that really pops. The same thing with the ficus and some of the other woods, So
As you said, you have to try it and see
yeah,
what
you just have to
happens.
try it and see what happens.
Yeah,
So,
I will try next time they cut a piece here. I will try that. Them. Let's see.
so anybody got anything else?
How today?
Not today. Okay. Well,
Thank you so much for your demonstration. It
you're
was
quite
great.
welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm glad that you were here today.
I wake up a little bit late, but I was able to. I took my breakfast while.
I hope that there weren't other people over on the other email that I sent last night. So,
No.
but anyway. So, all right, well, if that's it, I'm gonna shut this thing down and we'll see you all when we see you.
Amen.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a good
thank you.
weekend.
You too.
Thanks,
Bye.
Ralph.
Thank you.